Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm David McGill. Now, right now, it's no secret we're going through a weird time with this coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm shooting this video because I thought about it and I wanted you guys to make sure that you are taking advantage of this time of social distancing. And the best way to take advantage of this time is to feed your brain, develop that business mindset and also strengthen your business mindset. So I went through my personal library and put together a list of 6 books that I think all trucking business owners and future trucking business owners need to be reading during these times. Now, if you stick around to the end, I'll explain to you guys how you can get these books for the low. Now, let's get right into it. Now, the first book that all trucking business owners and entrepreneurs need to read is a New York Times bestseller by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, this is a very popular book. It's a great read. To me, it's actually the most important business book that I've ever read because it's not only the first business book that I ever read, but it also it really cemented some of the ideas that I had in high school. So when I read his book, he had put into words a lot of the thoughts that I had growing up. So this book was, very influential to me because, it kind of validated a lot of the beliefs that I had. Now, I like this book so much and the way that Robert Kiyosaki broke a lot of these things down that I pretty much bought every book that he ever put out, and I read them all. So the second book that I think you guys should be reading or should read during this time is his second book, Cashflow Quadrant. Now, in this book, he talks about a lot of the principles that he covered in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but then he also introduces the concept of this cash flow quadrant, and he explains what each individual person's role is in each of those quadrants. And it's a very good book as well. So I highly recommend Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. The third book I think everybody should be reading right now is The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. Now, just thinking about the title, with everything that's going on in the world right now, all the uncertainty, and people are very fearful, and there's a lot of bad news we're seeing all over the TV and YouTube. I think this is a great book to help keep you thinking, in the right direction. So again, that's The Power of Positive Thinking. The fourth book is Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. Now, this book, I'll read the subheading. It says, an amazing way to deal with change in your work and in your life. Now, there's no secret that we're undergoing a lot of change right now as a country, and this is going to have an impact on a lot of people's jobs as well as their personal lives. So how do you deal with that change? How do you stay positive? What are some of the things you should be thinking about? Well, Who Moved My Cheese is a good book to help give you some strategies and tools to help you deal with change and uncertainty. Now, the fifth book is called The EMyth, and the subtitle is Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. And this book was written by Michael Gerber. I first read this book when I was in college. I think it was in an entrepreneurship class. This book was assigned, and Michael Gerber, he breaks down the 3 people that's needed in every business and what their role is to keep that business going. And I love the way he broke that down, and I highly recommend The EMyth. Now, this last book, I actually don't have the physical copy anymore because I gave it away to a college student a few months ago. But this book, it's not a business book, but it's a great book to read. It's called The Pact. And basically this book it was written by 3 African-American males out of New Jersey. And the premise of the book is when they were young, they all made a pact or, a promise to one another that they would all become doctors someday. And this book, it walks you through their entire lives, where you'll see a lot of the ups and downs that they each had to go to en route to ultimately becoming doctors. Spoiler alert, they all in fact became doctors, which you can tell by the credits on the front of the book. It shows that all three of them have doctor in front of their name. So, but great book. I highly recommend it. Now, I'm old school, so I really like to actually sit with a book. I'm not a big ebook type of person. I like to print off things, hold them. I like to be able to highlight, and mark in my books. So if you're that type of person, you can find these books typically on Amazon for, anywhere from $18 to $25, buying them brand new. If you live in an area where there is a half price books, then you can get these books anywhere from, $8 to $10. Now, I do understand that a lot of you guys out there are truckers, or you're other folks who just don't have time to sit down and read a book. And so if you fall in that category, then audiobooks might be the best option for you. Now, if you're somebody who likes to listen to audiobooks, then I highly recommend you check out Audible. With Audible, if you become a member, then you pay $15 a month and you get a credit to buy any title of your choice, but then you also get 2 Audible originals every month as well. If you sign up for Audible membership through the link in the description, then you'll also get a 30-day free trial to Audible. Now, full disclaimer, if you do sign up for the free trial through my link below, then I'll receive a small commission. But I just want to make sure that I'm being transparent with you guys about that. Again, as we're going through this weird time, I highly recommend that everybody just kind of make sure that they're keeping their business mind sharp by reading the books. Again, I'll go through them. There's the EMyth, there's Who Moved My Cheese, The Power of Positive Thinking, Cashflow Quadrant, and Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, if you guys could think of any other titles or any other book recommendations that you might have, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below, and I'd be curious in checking out what you guys are reading during this time. And as always, give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and share it with anybody else who might find this information beneficial. As always, thanks again for watching.